do you stand out in a crowded industry, especially when you're just starting out? With your own online coaching business, with all the competition that you have out there, if you're not able to do that, you're gonna get lost in all of the noise. So today I'm gonna share with you 3 very powerful tips that are gonna help you stand out no matter how crowded or competitive your industry from day one. The key behind all of these tips comes down to one simple principle. And to share it, I'm gonna share with you a quick story. I don't know if you remember in 2008 during the Olympics when everyone was going crazy about all of the gold medals that Michael Phelps was winning. I remember every time it seemed like I turned on the news, it would be news about how he'd just beaten another record or won another medal or set another world record. The thing is, that was super impressive. We were all super excited about it. But at the same time, people number 2, number 3, the people who placed silver and bronze, they were doing pretty well for themselves as well. But when you think about it, unless you are a professional swimmer maybe, do you remember who was number 2 or number 3 at the 2008 Olympic Games for any of the other events that Michael Phelps won gold in? The answer is probably not. And that's because we really only have space in our minds to remember one person for one specific area. And so the key for you to stand out in your industry is for you to take that top spot from day one. Now, it's very possible if you're thinking, but I'm just starting out, I don't have the right audience, I don't have a big enough brand. That's okay, because those are actually not the things that make you stand out in your audience, in your ideal clients' minds. And what we're going to talk about today are 3 ways to help you really stay top of mind immediately, no matter how small or non-existent your brand or your audience is. So the first tip I want you to think through is, I'm going to take a few minutes, sit down and think through, how is your framework, your methodology, the best for your specific clients? It doesn't have to be the best in the world, right? That's arguable. But how is it the best for your clients? So let me give you an example. I work with quite a few health coaches, and one student I really remember was a health coach who helped people lose weight through the power of herbs. And this was something he had discovered years ago through a family personal emergency, and then through really just diving into how do I get better nutrition for me and my family members, and really stumbled upon this path of realizing, wow, through these herbs I can help people lose weight, I can help them feel more confident, I can help them have more energy and sleep better, and all of these other amazing things. And so what we did to craft how his methodology, his framework was better than all of his competitors for his specific audience, which was really busy professionals who had been trying to lose weight for a while with other methods but had been unsuccessful with them, was we really emphasized how herbs were better than pretty much anything else out there. And this has to be true, of course. We presented facts and evidence that really showed that, hey, with herbs, this is why this is better. We shared analogies to really show people the science behind it. And through that, immediately, top of mind, oh, weight loss, the herb guy, that became him. Now, if you don't have a super specific immediate thing that you can use to say, hey, this is how I'm different, like the example I just shared, that's okay. There are lots of other different ways to do it. Another really great way is by being specific about who you help and the way that you help them and how that's the best for them. So to use myself as an example, I help busy and ambitious men and women build online service-based businesses that replace their 9-to-5 incomes. Now, technically, there are a lot of people out there teaching the same thing. But how I differentiate myself and how I've done it from day one is based on my own background of having built my first online business while I was still in a 9-to-5 job. And so what I'm able to do is I'm able to say how my methodology is different from everyone else out there, where they will tell you to leave your job first, or they're not really trying to help you build enough of a business to replace your income, or they're not helping you build your business in a way that's manageable while you have a busy 9-to-5. And so instead, what I do is I'm very focused on everything I teach about building your own online business is specifically angled for people who are in their jobs, they're busy, they don't have a lot of time, they just need really to the point, concise step-by-steps that actually work. And they also need to learn in a way to build a business that will actually replace their income, not just make $100 or $1,000 on the side every month. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is taking it a step further beyond your framework and thinking about you. How are you the best for your audience? Again, it doesn't mean you have to be the world's best at what you do. It just has to be the best for who your specific audience is. Often that comes down to your background, your own personal story. So, for example, another one of my students is a career coach, and her own experience was that as a single mother in a male-dominated industry, there was not a lot of advice out there that she could use. She had to figure it out on her own. She had to learn how to juggle both her career and her daughter without sacrificing the other. And so all of that has just framed her belief, her very strong belief that you can have a great career and have a great family life if you know how to balance the two. And so she's a perfect fit for her audience because she has that specific background of balancing the career and the personal life, and from that very strong viewpoint of helping people who want to succeed in their career but not at the expense of their personal lives. So again, think through this for yourself. How is your background the best fit for your audience? Is it because you've gone through exactly what they've gone through when really no one else has? Is it because you've been doing it for longer? You've helped more people? You have specific credentials that your competitors don't have? Those are the things that you really want to be emphasizing to keep you immediately top of mind. Tip number 3 is my favorite, where I want you to think about how can you turn your perceived weaknesses into strengths. So all the things that you think might be too boring or not competitive enough or not interesting enough, how can you turn those into characteristics that really keep you top of mind for your audience? So let me use myself as an example. I used to think that I love to watch TV shows. I love to watch Netflix. I love to watch just basically any good TV show or a bad TV show that you can think of. And I used to think that was a weakness because I thought it might maybe showed a lack of discipline, a lack of motivation. You don't see a lot of other successful entrepreneurs talking about how much time they spent watching TV. It's actually exactly the opposite, where they're spending all this time saying, no, don't watch TV, right? And so I used to try and make myself watch less TV. But I reached a certain point where I decided, life's too short to not do some things that you really enjoy. And so I actually started talking more and more about all the different TV shows that I love watching in my content, my live streams, my emails, my Facebook, social media posts. And the funniest thing happened. People started reaching out to me and saying, I really loved that you shared this lesson from the show Billions or Suits or Mrs. Maisel or The Good Place. As you can see, I do watch a lot of TV shows. And even beyond that, when I opened my programs, I had people coming in and saying, wow, I really resonated with what you shared about watching TV because it seems like you actually have a life outside of your business, and I really, really appreciate that. And so I was able to turn that into one of my biggest strengths. Let me give you one more example. And again, just using myself so that you can see this is really something that is not just theoretical, it's being put into practice in my own business right now. I used to think that it was kind of boring that I had a background in engineering way back from my college days and in my first ever job. And so I would minimize that because I would think, what does that have to do with my ability to help you build your own business? So I focused more on my experience as related to building my first online businesses, the thousands of people at this point I've helped, and really just honing in on that. But then, slowly, bit by bit, just because my engineering training has even to this day informed the way I think very systematically about how to build a business, about how to analyze things when they're not working and how to fix them, I had more and more people come to me and say, hey, the reason why I decided to hire you specifically or invest in your program specifically is because you are so systematic and that you are so focused on your numbers. Everything you do is so logical. It's not just, hey, this should work. I don't know how to help you if it doesn't. It's, hey, let's sit down and analyze why this isn't working so that we can fix it for you and move on, basically. And you're so good at numbers, which I know is my weakness. So I wanted to make sure I worked with a coach who was able to help me complement my weaknesses. And so I doubled down on, again, what I had seen as a perceived weakness. I talked more about how my engineering training really informed the way I think and how it makes me a really logical, systematic, step-by-step coach. And all of my programs are that way as well, which is an actual advantage over what my competitors do. I really doubled down, really talking about how that has really helped me improve the way that I troubleshoot, the way I manage my finances, the way I think through building my business as an actual system instead of just haphazardly doing this or that and then just hoping it all comes together and it works. And so those are two of the things that nowadays relate to my audience the best. And whenever I'm speaking with my clients, especially in person, they'll always say one or two of those things or both and say, that's really the reason why I really wanted to work with you specifically out of all of the people that are in your industry. So those are the 3 tips I have for you today. And what I would love for you to do is really think this through. Spend a few minutes after this video just thinking it through for yourself, answering these questions, and then just going out there and using them and seeing how people react. Then it's going to be a process where as you see what people resonate with, what they don't resonate with, you're going to continue to work on this and improve, and really much faster than you might think possible because you're focusing on things that people actually remember and care about. You're going to much more quickly stand out, even if you don't have that massive audience or that massive brand recognition right now. So that's what I've got for you today. If you found this super helpful, I've got one more thing for you, which is an epic free training that shows you my own process for building my first online business while I was in a 9-to-5 and using that to replace my income before I ever turned in my notice. So you can go ahead and sign up for it. It's linked in the description below. And aside from that, I will see you on my next video. Make sure that if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe to be notified when I release a new training every single week. All right, until next time.